What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, your daily entertainment and pop culture show. Today on the show, we're going to jump into the world of movies once again, and we're going to talk again about the upcoming Venom movie that Sony is making. The second trailer for Venom just dropped, and this is our first look at Venom himself in this movie. Of course, the first trailer had no Venom in it at all, so they were really kind of leaving this Venom reveal for quite a long time. This trailer also gives us a bit more in-depth info about kind of what this movie is about. So you find out in this trailer that it revolves around the Life Foundation, and they possess the Venom symbiote, and it's run by Carlton Drake, and they're experimenting on people, presumably using these symbiotes, and Eddie Brock is investigating the Life Foundation as he gets wrapped up in all of this, and of course gains the Venom symbiote and becomes Venom. We find out the movie, in both of these trailers, they make a very big point to tell you that this movie is set in San Francisco, so they have some establishing shots showing, the bridge and stuff like that. And that's a big difference than a lot of the other, Marvel movies. It's distancing itself from New York City, which is really kind of the home base of operations for most Marvel properties, especially Spider-Man. So it might seem a little weird that they pulled Venom and Eddie Brock out to San Francisco for no reason, but this is actually true to the comics. So the Lethal Protector storyline arc actually finds Eddie going out to San Francisco, and that's actually where Eddie Brock is originally from as well. So comic book Eddie Brock and Venom do have ties to San Francisco, so it makes a lot of sense that they would actually be there. Now, let's jump into things that I like about this trailer, because, I want to focus on the positives here first. First of all, I really like that Eddie Brock is a reporter in this movie. He's not a photographer like he was in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And he's really kind of like a scrappy, knows how to tail people type of reporter. Very true to his comic book origins. I like that as the backstory for Eddie Brock. I think it's very important for the character that is so often forgotten and left behind, so we can jump right into the Eddie Brock is mad at Peter Parker and Eddie Brock becomes Venom. I like that we're at its roots. I like that he is a reporter, and that's very prominent in this trailer. I also really appreciate that it is set in San Francisco. Would have been very easy just to put it in New York, try to make it, that same exact feel as all of the movies are, but I like that it has its own thing. It's got its own thing going on. Very cool that it is set in San Francisco. And I really like that Eddie is this anti-hero in this movie. Again, true to this arc in the comics, I like that Eddie Brock is a protector wanting to do the right thing, and the symbiote pulls against that. So it's this internal struggle where Eddie is having to fight the symbiote and kind of pull against his own urges. It is a very kind of Bruce Banner, Incredible Hulk situation as well, and I think that internal conflict is always a really interesting aspect of the character. So all that's really good stuff that they are putting at the forefront for this trailer. Now, things that I don't like, unfortunately, there's also quite a bit of that in this trailer. First and foremost, they have a little bit of a voiceover from a lady in this trailer who's talking about the symbiotes, and she keeps pronouncing it symbiotes, over and over again. Not okay. They're symbiotes. Listen, I get that that's maybe a legal pronunciation, but come on. What, symbiote? No, not on board. Not on board with that. I'm also not a huge fan of the Venom voice. Obviously, in the comics, a big part of any Venom comic is Eddie having these internal struggles with the symbiote itself, and they portray that in the movie by having Eddie literally talk to the symbiote, and it has this voice that I'm not really sold on so far. It might grow on me when I see the full film, but for right now it comes off as a little cheesy, and it doesn't quite really fit what they're going for, that internal struggle. Tom Hardy in this movie also seems a bit weird. I'm usually a pretty big Tom Hardy fan, but it feels like in all the scenes that they've shown in the trailer so far that he was given the direction in all of those scenes just to be more manic. He comes across as this weird, crazy, wild man. And part of that makes sense when he's being kind of racked with the symbiote and he's getting pulled in all these different directions. But part of it as well comes before he has the symbiote. He just delivers these lines in such a strange way. He seems like this person who's trying really hard to outwardly project that he is internally conflicted. So again, we'll see if that grows on me. You're just seeing little snippets here and there. But he comes off as very, very strange with some of the things he says. The other big thing that I think is going to be a sticking point for me with this movie, obviously Spider-Man is not going to be in it. I think that we can all assume that bare minimum there's going to be a tiny little kind of cameo featuring Spider-Man. Maybe you'll see it on a newspaper somewhere. But by and large, this Venom is not going to be tied to Spider-Man. That's going to be a problem in that Venom's origins are so closely linked to Spider-Man in the comics. Obviously, Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker and, gets the symbiote from Peter Parker. When Spider-Man casts off the symbiote, it goes to Eddie Brock and Eddie becomes Venom. It feeds on his hatred. The entire reason that Venom looks and kind of resembles Spider-Man when he was in the black costume was because it came from Spider-Man. The symbiote learned from Spider-Man, learned his abilities. That's the whole reason why Venom has the white spider on his chest. In this film, we don't even know if that white spider is there. The final scene that we see where we finally get the big reveal of Venom, the teeth come around Eddie Brock's head. We get this awesome looking Venom, and the Venom does look very cool. I like everything they're doing with the special effects. It only goes about to his kind of upper chest area. We don't get to see any farther down, and I am assuming that's because there's no spider on his chest. As far as the origin for this movie goes, there's no reason for there to be a spider, because this symbiote was never attached to Peter Parker. It was never learning all of those spider powers. It would have no reason to be spider-based. So that's going to be a real bummer. You're just going to have a completely black Venom in this movie. And I'm afraid that is going to be a bit of a sticking point for me. Nonetheless, I do like some of the things they're doing with this movie in this trailer. I like some of the directions that they're going. So I'm still a little worried about this movie, as we've talked about before, but I'm still pretty excited about some of the directions that they're going, and I really hope that it turns out well. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Like Pretty Dece on Facebook at facebook.com/PrettyDeceShow, and follow me on Twitter at PrettyDeceShow. You can also check out Pretty Dece in its video version. You might be watching that right now. You can find that at prettydeceshow.com/video. So if you're checking out the video version on the YouTube channel, or if you are listening in the podcast, make sure that you check back every single day so you never miss any of the content.